Okay, I think let's get started. Um, so we have completed the reading of chapter 1. This session is to summarize what has been assimilated out of chapter 1 and how to approach the text with a contemplative mind to reach the truth that we are seeking. Somewhere on the path, this text is, it is like a guiding principle giving deep insights into how the mind functions. So I would request Anu to please take over and begin the session with um, giving us the insight into how to approach the text with respect to various aspects that a human being goes through, and how this is a deep, deep, deep way of Bhagavad Chintan.
Okay, we'll start with a prayer. ध्यानमूलं गुरुर्मूर्तिः पूजामूलं गुरुर्पदम् मन्त्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यम् मोक्षमूलं गुरुर्कृपा ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामिनीम् भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी. This was Gita Dhyanam. Parthaya pratibodhitam bhagavatam Narayanena swayam. When Arjun became Parth, to guide him, the Guru was Narayan Swayam. Madhye Mahabharata. Not in a cave, not tucked under a tree somewhere, right in Kurukshetra. Madhye Mahabharatam, when Arjun became Parth, Narayan Swayam assumed the form of Guru, and in the middle of the battlefield, gave him the grace of the Divine Mother. Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim. Divine Mother herself is Vidya, Shri Vidya. So when Arjun became Parth, Lord Narayan assumed the form of Guru in the middle of the battlefield to give him the grace of the Divine Mother, which is knowledge. And let's not forget, Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murtihi. ध्यान का मूल गुरु की मूर्ति है, पूजा का मूल गुरु के पद हैं, मंत्र का मूल गुरु के वाक्य हैं और मोक्ष का मूल सद्गुरु की कृपा है. All else is commentary. So last time I shared how Bhagavad Gita was given by Lord Krishna And only Lord Krishna understands the entire Bhagavad Gita. We are all just, I don't even want to say trying, but we're all just attempting. So to understand Bhagavad Gita is impossible. And that's not the goal of the text either. That's not the goal of this study group either. So the sentiment with which we approach the text is very important because it's going to set the foundation. And the sentiment being that of bhakti and surrender. That Prabhu, I really don't know, and I don't have the intellect or the mind to understand your words. And I'm not here trying to understand intellectually, because mind you, intellectual knowledge takes up energy to store. It's like carrying a burden on your head. You need to hold it with some amount of energy. We are not here trying to hold on to more stuff. The esoteric meaning of this is that. The esoteric meaning of this is this. He represents that. He represents that. How much can you hold on? So we have to enter the text with a sentiment of deep surrender. That we don't know and we don't have the capacity to know. We don't have the ability to know the meaning of the words that have come from Lord Krishna's mouth. When the divine spoke, even look at Swamiji's discourses. You can listen to the same discourse over and over again, and every time you listen, you get a different meaning. Because the level at which he operates is different. But this is the beauty of surrender. When we enter the text with a sentiment of surrender, the Lord knows which knowledge to give when. He will make it available. We just enter in love, in bhakti, in deep surrender, not wanting to use any of our energy towards gathering intellectual knowledge, just in deep love of the Lord, deep surrender to the Lord, we enter the text. That's a sentiment of a child. The child doesn't wonder or bother what the parents are going to do, what kind of work they're going to do to put bread on the table. The child plays along, like Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa says, I sing, I clap, I dance, I play, knowing that my Divine Mother knows what's best for me. With that sentiment, we have to enter. And someone asked Sri Ramakrishna, you are so knowledgeable, you know so much. He said, I'll tell you a secret. I don't know anything. I didn't even go to school. I'm an illiterate. But my Divine Mother, she knows everything and she speaks. Whenever people ask me a question, I just look upon her as a child and she answers. So it is very important we cultivate that sentiment that I don't know and I have no capacity to know. Because the mind and the intellect has been so well developed from all the education, it will say, I know. So continuously affirming to ourselves that I truly don't know and I don't have the capacity to know. But we all have the capacity to love. And that's what we'll do. We love the Lord with all our heart and He will make available whatever it is that we need to know. So that's the sentiment with which we will enter the text. Now, what should be the approach? We all know it was about Arjuna. We all know the Mahabharata. Intellectually, we get it. But the approach here is, this is about me. I am Parth. And how can I say that I am Parth? Because I am entering the text with a sentiment of surrender. Hence, I am Parth. This is about me. So the approach is, this is about me and my Krishna. Which me? The me that has surrendered. The me that has given up on this notion that I know. that me. Because when Arjun became surrendered, he became Parth. Supatra. He became ready to receive knowledge. Which is why Arjun Vishad Yoga is contemplation, is deep contemplation. And that's what we will see. So reiterating again, the sentiment should be that of surrender. The approach should be, this is about me and my Krishna. Now let's talk about which Krishna. The one who roamed about with gopis, the Dwarikadhish, the one who met Arjun in the battlefield? No. This is about my Antaryami. This is about myself. This is about my companion, my beloved, who is within me, as me, with me all the time. There is not a moment that exists without him. That Lord Krishna, nowhere outside, the one who is with me, in me, as me all the time. So this is about me, the surrendered me. And this is about my Krishna, the one who is my eternal companion. And where is this happening? This is happening right now within me. This is happening within me. This battlefield is within me. This is the approach that we need to take entering the text. We already talked about sentiment. That is of the heart. The mind needs to know this is about me. This is about my Lord Krishna, and this is about what's happening within. Which means all the warriors that are listed, they all exist within me as energies. The ahankar, the ego, is Duryodhan. Forget about these names. Forget about who are these warriors and what they represent and what they might represent. Remember, it's a trap. This is about me, and I'm going to address it head on, being guided by my Lord Krishna, by my Krishna. Always address your Ishta as mine. It really breaks that distance away. My Divine Mother, my Swami, my Lord Krishna, my Antaryami. The heart and the mind are not in unison. The heart is doing its own thing, the mind is doing its own thing. So the text is going to bring the heart and mind together. It's going to bring that integrity within. In the heart, we're going to harbor love, bhakti, surrender. And the mind is going to know, this is about me and my Krishna. My soul, myself is going to guide me within. To do what? That's the next question. Why the guidance? To perform swadharma, appropriate action. Not right or wrong action, appropriate action. The action that is needed at that particular moment is appropriate action. There is no right, there is no wrong. Guided from within, guided from my Lord Krishna within, I perform actions. There is still a duality, which is okay. Because to remove duality is not the function of the intellect. Removal of duality is the function of Lord Krishna. It's something he will do. When he thinks it's necessary, when he thinks we are ready. For now, there is a surrendered Jivatma. Surrendered Jivatma to Paramatma. And that's what we are going to do. Approach the text with the mindset that this is about me and my Lord Krishna. To feel that connection within. The mind says, I don't know where the soul is. I don't know how to identify the self. I don't know That's fine. But guess what? The Lord within knows that you are trying to connect. And that's enough. The intention is loud and clear. So when the universe hears it from the depths of our hearts, that this is about me and my Lord, the Lord who is within you, as you, with you all the time, starts to come to the fore. You start to experience the presence. You no longer look to go to some temple and pray. Wherever you are in prayer. You could kneel down in the middle of a three-way stop sign, and right there you could be in prayer. You could close your eyes in the airport line, you're in prayer. You could have your eyes open, chit-chatting away with people, you could be in prayer. Because that distance is non-existent. So we have to train, the mindset has to, a new groove has to be created. So this is about my Krishna, my companion within me. Although I don't know how to connect to my companion knows I'm trying to connect. So that Krishna, my Krishna is my charioteer, my guide. And my Krishna is going to guide me moment by moment through this life. Because moment to moment, I have to perform actions. Every moment I'm supposed to act. I'm supposed to respond to life. And that response needs to be guided from within by Lord Krishna. We all know the story of Mahabharata. If you look back, every move Arjun made, it was guided. And it wasn't questioned. All the questions got over during Bhagavad Gita. Once the questions were over, he said, now whatever you tell me, I will do. There are no more questions remaining. He said, shoot here, shot there. Kill this one, kill there. No more questions. But to reach that state, wherein moment to moment you are guided, all your actions are guided, your words are guided, there is a lot of surrender needed in the heart. The mindset needs to be, this is about me. This is about connecting to the divine within me. At least the divine needs to see that you're making some attempt to connect. All the attempts might be flawed. All the attempts might be flawed. But the intention is pure, and that's enough. Because the Lord sees the intention before the actions. Because intention happens first, and then it gets muddled up with the conditioning of the mind, and then some action happens. So let the intention be there, that this study is about me, is about the battlefield within me. Now let's try to understand, what is the big battle about? What's the big fuss about? After Lord Krishna brought the chariot in the middle of the battlefield, and he said, why don't you look at the entire army, the enemy forces and yours. There, Arjuna saw among both armies fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, in-laws, and companions. This is a very, very important verse right there, because it shows, first, when he saw the enemy forces, what did he recognize? We all perceive the world based on our own conditioning. What did Arjun see? He saw fathers, grandfathers, teachers, uncles, brothers, grandsons, friends, in laws, companions. See, he didn't see people. He saw his relations, how he related to those people. He didn't see people, he saw how he related to those people. And what did that bring about? What did my grandfather teach me? What did my father teach me? What did my uncles teach me? What did my in laws teach me? What did I learn from my maternal uncles? So you see, within us, we have all of this as pitra, as conditioning that's been passed on in our genetic makeup. Which is why Swamiji quotes that story of Buddha about Buddha talking to one of the disciples about, did you kill your parents? Because within us, we have conditioning passed on to us from our fathers, grandfathers, uncles, in-laws, companions, friends, everyone around. Family and society has shaped us, has shaped our perception. So first thing in this chapter to recognize is he realized how deeply conditioned he is from all these relations. We all act a certain way, we all act differently, but a certain way because of our influence from all these people. So the first step in contemplation is this a conditioned behavior? Is this a reaction or is this an action that I'm performing? If I'm constantly getting angry, is this an action or a reaction? No child is born with anger. No child. Anger is introduced in a child's life from people around, family and friends. So a child is pure, but the influence of teachers, uncles, brothers, fathers, grandfathers, in-laws, companions, all of these people shape a child. So to realize whether I'm performing action or I'm just reacting is key. And we'll talk about how to put all these things together. Next is, I have it here. And then he says, "Oh Krishna, I have heard from reliable sources that those who destroy family traditions and values are condemned to a hellish life." This is the second place, very important in this chapter. "Oh Krishna, I have heard from reliable sources." Second-hand intellectual knowledge. Don't we all have that? And which is why I'm telling you, it takes up energy to hold on to this intellectual knowledge. Who represents what? Let go, let go, let go. Arjuna is saying to Krishna, I've heard from reliable sources, intellectual knowledge. Is this something you have experienced firsthand? Is this in your experience belt? Or is this something you have heard? Intellectual knowledge. And then at the end is the most beautiful tiny book. There it is. Okay. Having spoken thus, Arjuna cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on his chariot, his heart overcome with grief. Our true nature is Sat Chit Anand. Our true nature is bliss, love. So why is it that we experience grief? This is where contemplation has to begin in this study group. We know with what sentiment we are entering. We know the mindset now. We know the battlefield is within us, around us, in us. We know the time is now. And we know we are doing all this so we may perform appropriate action. How to put this into daily reflective practice? Whenever we experience grief within, can we have the courage to, one, question conditioning from fathers, grandfathers, maternal uncles, family, friends, companions, everyone? Can we identify what is that conditioned view that's causing this grief? If my true nature is Satchit Anand, if my true nature is bliss, where is this grief coming from? It cannot be coming from within. I mean, it cannot be my true nature. Where is this coming from? A, is it coming from the conditioning passed on to me from my family and friends? B, is it coming from intellectual knowledge? And there is a third one. Well, in one of the shlokas, Arjuna says, alas, what has happened? We are here willing to commit such sins as killing our own family out of greed for material pleasures. This is another important verse because here Arjuna says, what are we doing, Lord Krishna? What are we doing here? We are trying to kill these people for our own material pleasures. So the third source of grief is compartmentalizing material life and spiritual life. So during our reflection, daily reflections, and I would encourage you to do these reflections 3 to 4 times a day. Okay, 4 might be too much, 3 times a day. At breakfast, lunch, and dinner, while we are eating. If we can contemplate, how was my day so far? Well, breakfast might be difficult because you just woke up, but you wake up and you question, how am I feeling? If there is any trace of grief, is it because of some conditioned view passed on to me by my kith and kin? Or is it because I intellectually understand something a certain way, but life is presenting the same knowledge in a different way, and then there is friction? Or is it because I have compartmentalized, oh no, this is spiritual, this is pure, and this is material, this is impure? If we can just continuously reflect within, what's the source of grief? What's the source of this grief? Why do I feel this grief within? And then question, is it A, B, or C? A being conditioned view of a given situation. Because if my true nature is bliss, where is this grief coming from? It's a conditioned view, which is why Arjun was a great warrior, which is why he was called Parantap. Because he had the courage to question his conditioned beliefs moment to moment. He had the courage to question, is this intellectual knowledge? Was it passed down to me from someone, or is it my first-hand experience? If it is not my first-hand experience, I'm not going to accept it at face value. And am I compartmentalizing life into spiritual and material? Reflection on these 3 questions, not just sometime, but at least when overcome with grief, will help tremendously. But the secret is, if we don't do it every day, 3 times a day, the amount of grief that can come will be so immense that we won't be able to pull ourselves back or out of that. Which is why it's important to practice it slowly. And the best reflection happens when we are in a good state of mind. When the mind is not overtaken by grief, that's when you can reflect the best. So maybe one reflection at 10 a.m., one reflection at 3 p.m., and one at 7 or 8, or even just before going to bed. Was my heart overtaken by grief? Did anything bother me today? If it did, let me bring that situation in front of me and look at it. Am I looking at it with a conditioned view? Am I looking at it with some intellectual concept of how the situation should be? Or am I discarding it, thinking it's impure and it's not spiritual and it's material? What am I doing? Because all life is one. If there is anything except for divine, then it's an insult to divine. So, this constant contemplation, because this is about me and this is happening within me. All these people exist within me as beliefs, concepts. So, we have to question each and knock it down. The guidance is already there from Lord Krishna within. Eternal companion, beloved, always there. So, have the courage to question, to reflect. It is such a liberating process. People talk about transformation being painful. It's not. That's a conditioned view. Transformation is liberation, it is liberating. So approach transformation and reflection with that mindset that I'm going to liberate myself from my own conditioned views, from my own intellectual knowledge, from my own divisions about this is spiritual, this is not spiritual, this is material, this is pure, this is impure, this is right, this is wrong. Approach reflection with that mindset and be free. Because the only thing we need to remember is if our true nature is bliss, where did this grief come from? Where is the room for this grief? And all this is possible with just one thing: surrender in the heart. It's a language of the heart. Deep love and surrender for the beloved, for the companion within. यह श्रुति वेद कहता, गुरु बिना ज्ञान कैसा. यह श्रुति वेद कहता, गुरु बिना ज्ञान कैसा. ज्ञान बिना मुक्ति कैसी, आए तेरे ध्यान में. गुरु ब्रह्म रूप जानो, शिव का स्वरूप मानो. गुरु ब्रह्म रूप जानो, शिव का स्वरूप मानो. ओम स्वामी, ओम स्वामी, ओम स्वामी. That's all I had to share.
Thank you, Anu, for giving us such a beautiful insight into how to begin and how to enter this text. If anyone has any questions, you can please unmute yourself and ask. Or if anyone wants to share their takeaway and contemplation on this first chapter with us, you may please unmute yourself. Yes, Anil, please go ahead.
No, it was about
Very difficult to speak after Anu has spoken. So she covers everything. So very little to speak after she has spoken.
Mansi, is on the WhatsApp group itself, are we doing self-reflections?
Not as of now. This should begin, I feel, and reflection should happen uh, periodically during the day. This is what
It
is
would,
effectively going to result in reflection, is what I feel. We must start.
it would really benefit, especially if everyone starts sharing their own conditioned views. It will help others identify their own conditioned views as well. So reflection always, I think it's a great thing to do.
I agree. Because yesterday I was reading one of these old blog posts again by Swami where he talks about surrender. And one of those incidents that he mentions when he was meditating in the woods in the little thatch cottage, a lot of these villagers once in a while would pass by and they would want to bow down to him, but they would be carrying these woods, the cut logged woods on their heads, and because of the weight of that pile of wood, they would find it impossible to bow down. And then Swami says, same is the case with us, with so much baggage of conditioned views, of a lot of other things which we cling on to so tightly, refusing to let go. The weight is so much of this baggage that it doesn't allow us to surrender. And surrender, he very beautifully and simply puts in one line, it is an expression of love for the one you revere. And only when we surrender are we able to take a guidance. You see, the whole of chapter 1, Krishna has not spoken. There is no Bhagavan Uvach. So long as the mind is only chattering and going on and on with its own lala trip, Guru's voice will not even be heard. And so he will not even choose to speak from your heart inside. The Antaryami sitting inside stays mute till the time we haven't offloaded the baggage and prepared ourselves to even surrender. Only when both hands are up in the air and you say, I'm done, I don't know now. I just don't know. I can't figure it out anymore on my own. Will Bhagwan know that yes, now you're ready to seek? Till such time you keep on giving him all your conditioned views with this idea that somewhere you are not seeking guidance, you're not seeking advice, you are trying to justify what you think, what you feel. All this that Arjun is going on and on in chapter 1 with is nothing but he's trying to justify how he's feeling right now. And he is thinking that by giving all these um, we are, the mind is very clever. It is trying to seek a spiritual validation from Krishna, and he keeps quiet. He does not speak till such time he has finished. He has just he has expressed everything, and now there's no more. The whole of chapter 1, Bhagwan is absolutely mute. And when I personally contemplate on it, I feel every time love has departed from your heart and has been taken over by conditioned views, has been overtaken by ego, by greed, by selfishness, the result is war within and without. This is my simple takeaway from chapter 1.
The real source of grief should be, I don't know my own companion.
Very true.
Arjuna is grieved about other things. Lord Krishna is just smiling. That I'm your companion and you don't recognize that. So let's go ahead and take a few moments to meditate on love. Love of the beloved within. So go ahead, close your eyes. Our attempts of connecting with beloved are all flawed. But the beloved sees our attempts. Knowing thus, smile. Just close your eyes and smile. Can we do that multiple times in a day? Open your eyes and smile within your heart. Let that smile come on your lips. The Lord within knows I'm trying to connect, and that's enough. My attempts might be flawed, but your loving glance is never flawed. That's it. It's really that simple. In love, it's so simple. The mind makes it very complicated. Be in love all day, every day. Whether your eyes are closed or whether your eyes are open. The beloved is in your heart. Just keep smiling. Let's not focus on our actions. Focus on the intention to connect. Feel that warm, fuzzy feeling in your heart. Beloved, Lord Krishna, Divine Mother, right there, so close to you. No distance. Right there. Smile. Smile because you're in love. You reached home. All knowledge is possible in love. It's the greatest siddhi, greatest emotion. Start with being in love with the beloved. Start with that. I'm in love. I'm in love. And then the I will disappear. You just love. And that's what happened with Uddhav when he went to gopis with intellectual knowledge. He had so much to tell them. Brahma Gyan. Gyan tiharo adho adhuro mano yamat mano re. Gyan tiharo adho adhuro mano yamat mano. प्रेम में क्या आनंद रे उद्धव, प्रेम करो तो जानो. Be in love. Don't be a scholar. Be a lover. Lover of the beloved. Eyes closed or eyes open doesn't matter. You're smiling because you're connecting with your beloved. All the connections are flawed, and that's the beauty of it. All your connections are flawed. But the beloved knows. Smile in love, be in love. All self-reflections, all transformation becomes easy. It's like a cakewalk, and you're smiling. That's what Narad Rishi says in Narad Bhakti Sutra. Whether it is Siddha Avastha or Sadhana Avastha, Bhakti is Parama Prema Rupa. It's equally sweet in the Sadhana Avastha and Siddha Avastha. Be in love. If you're in love with Lord within, He will make anything and everything possible. Constantly tell yourself, I'm in love. I'm in love with my beloved Lord. I'm in love with my beloved mother. I don't know any intellectual knowledge. All I know is to love. हम प्रेम दीवानी है, वो प्रेम दीवाना. हम प्रेम दीवानी है, वो प्रेम दीवाना. ऐ उद्धव हमें ज्ञान की पोथी न सुनाना. हम प्रेम दीवानी है, वो प्रेम दीवाना. That's why Narad Rishi, in his Narad Bhakti Sutra, he only brings about one bhaktas. Yatha Vraja Gopika Nam. The way the gopis were, developed that kind of prem. You run after prem, you run after love, the Lord will run after you. You run after intellectual knowledge, it will suck you dry. Be careful.
Thank you, Anu. I'd request you to now close this beautiful session till we step into the next chapter and meet again.
Kundali Kumari Kutile Chandi Charachara Savitri Chamunde Gunini Guharini Guhye Gurumurte Tvam Namami Kamakshi. Gurumurte Tvam Namami Kamakshi. Gurumurte Tvam Namami Kamakshi. Divine Mother, bless us all with pure love for Thee. Make us all fall madly in love with You. All else is commentary. Narayani, Namostate. Om Swami, Om Swami, Om Swami.
You can close the session now.